Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Happy and blessed Monday, blessed Passion Monday, as we are in the midst of Passion Week, the week before Palm Sunday and Holy Week. And welcome to episode 549 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, where tonight we are going to be focusing on the Minecraft movie, the box office specifically, as the movie itself, in my own opinion, is really not worth talking all that much about. But even if it's a film I hate, if the money is there and it's making it, I am going to talk about it and I'm going to give it its fair due. And sure enough, the Minecraft movie is making a crap ton of money. And when you take into account a reported $150 million production budget, a $300+ million global opening, yeah, guess what? You got to walk away from that, and the only conclusion is, hey, the film is set to make a lot of money. So we will talk about just how much money the film is likely to make. We're still in early days. We still don't have a Sunday to Monday drop-off to work with. We obviously don't have our week 2 drop-off yet. That, I think, is going to be incredibly key to predicting the long-term success of the Minecraft movie. But we do have some initial numbers and some initial metrics that we can look to have a pretty decent idea as far as what is going to likely be the end result if the film has an average performing run. Now, again, I talked a lot about this in the box office breakdown yesterday, but not everyone was able to see that, and there's always good questions and good points that people who watch these chats are able to bring up. And so before going any further, though, make sure you smash that like button. Also smash the rumble button as well. Light up that fire button over on Odyssey. And let's go ahead and say hello to the people who are hanging out in the chat tonight. We had a few people here early. We had Snorpoopus Cuber saying, hello, humans and other quitters. What's going on, Snorpoopus? He said hello. We had Gary Banjo Sandwich, the Banjo Sandwich Worthington, saying hello to you. We had Carl Jacobs in the chat at 726. Welcome, Carl Jacobs. Thank you for being here again. We had member Forever Sci-Fi. Hail to you, longest member here on the channel. Always appreciate you hanging out with us, saying hail Raichu, another member here on the channel. Hail to you. Thanks for being here. We, of course, have the man with the orange hat, our King Mod here, saying, behave, folks. I've got an mighty axe, and its name Trollsbane. It drinks the blood of trolls and spammers, indeed it does. And the man with the orange hat does a wonderful job at that. I appreciate all of your work, good sir. Thank you for always being here and for being so supportive. We have got the Morak hanging out. What's going on, Morak? Welcome back. The man with the orange hat also has to say this. He says, my honest thoughts on Minecraft box office. It gets a good start, but peters out just before reaching $1 billion. Just my prediction, but I have been wrong before. Yeah, and I will say that is a valid opinion. I definitely think that is a valid opinion to hold right now, because right now it's just too early, right? We have a massive opening weekend, but the question is, does the film have legs? Is it going to be able to sustain itself in its second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on and so forth weekend, based off of the reaction from the target demo, right? From the teens, young adults crowd, like late teens, early 20s crowd? It seems that, at least from the ones that I've been hearing from, that they have been enjoying it. Now, I don't know exactly if they are joking when they say it is the best movie ever, but I do think that in many ways they're speaking more so to their own experience subjectively of how much they enjoyed it, how much they had fun with it. And that's really, I think, the secret to the success. And it's really the secret success to any film that does well. Hey, guess what? If you make an entertaining movie that goes after your fans and specifically goes after to entertain one's fans, hey, guess what, Hollywood? Turns out you can turn off a pretty good profit and have a pretty good opening weekend. You have a case of two films from this past weekend. For instance, you had the top film Minecraft, which clearly gave a lot of its target demo a lot of things to take in and enjoy. Whereas in the case of Snow White, you had that company making a lot of poor political, racially motivated decisions, in fact, if we're going to be perfectly honest there, and ultimately ended up driving its target demo away. And that film set to lose $300+ million, all the while Minecraft really poised to make as much money as it can. I mean, the sky is really the limit for that movie at this point, with a likely, on average, result being close to maybe even upwards of $900 million. Now, that's, again, if you have an average run-of-the-mill performance from this point forward. And there's nothing at this point to indicate whether that will happen to the excessive, meaning to make more, to do better than the average, or other way around. So I think, Orange Chat, yeah, I think you've got a good point. I would not be, for instance, I would not be surprised if there was like a 65+% drop off in week 2. I would also not be surprised if there was like a 50% drop or less in week 2. It's really hard to say because it seems to me, at least, that a lot of the energy behind this movie is just meme energy. And maybe that is also part of the secret, right? Because for me, I just hated every second of the film. I thought the film just was not funny at all. The film dragged. It wasn't really even a Minecraft movie. Minecraft was a side character in its own tale. And yet, I'm hearing from all the people that love Minecraft that they loved it and they loved the references. And it kind of just boggles the mind a bit. But it seems that they're also really enjoying the whole thing with Jack Black and Jason Momoa, right? The fact that he's Gargar. They thought that was funny. I think it's pretty lowbrow, but hey, guess what? Lowbrow humor can oftentimes sell quite a bit. I don't think that we've typically seen that kind of humor, though, I guess, in the way of how it's being presented in Minecraft. Obviously, it's tying so many different things together that it might just be the secret sauce that they have been waiting for. Could also be that this is going to be the film that does well, and then inevitably when the studio looks at this and says, hey, let's do another one, they then fall flat on their face because it's not able to have the sustaining value. Because I think as time goes on, the more people go back to it, they'll say, oh yeah, that movie. Remember when that came out? I personally don't think it's going to have a lot of staying power. But again, I've been wrong before too. But Orange Chat, thank you as always for being here. Always appreciate your thoughts. Wayward Noodle, hanging out. Saying here, Clownfish TV said that Mr. Beast and other huge influencers are making it an event to go to Minecraft. Basically making a modern-day Rocky Horror show, if it is true, could change everything. Yeah, I believe it was Captain Sparkles got an early review, got an early screening of the film. That wouldn't surprise me either. Because, yeah, it also, I think, gives you an idea of where modern influencers stand. Because they can't get people to go vote. That is very clear, right? This past election made clear that if you try to put influencers in charge of driving people to the polls and getting political, that's just not going to work. People don't want that. People don't want entertainment and their politics typically combined together. They're going to turn that stuff off pretty quickly. But if you're going to have them promote entertainment in an entertainment space surrounding the IP that is kind of the source or at least a major aspect and part of that, hey, maybe that is going to be enough. Maybe that is how they're able to drive going forward. Now, I do think that it does set a bad precedent because the last thing I need are for studios to say, oh, if that's the secret sauce, let me go ahead and just get all these influencers to promote all these random myriads of crap movies that really have no substance to them, no actual comedy to them either, but are just there. Because that's really what Minecraft is at this point. I really would much rather have had an actual movie about Minecraft rather than whatever the heck it is that we got. Wayward Noodle saying hello to the chat. Xavier Pierce, Geek Archivist, welcome to the chat. Appreciate you being here. The Morak tagging there. Jimmy A, who is a member. Hail Odin in chat. Hail to you. Thanks for being here. We got Just Under the Red Shirt. Hail to you, good sir. One of the Modrotics here. Saying hail Odin, hail chat. Carl Jacobs, when does repeated box office failure cause Disney to lose negotiating leverage with theaters? That's a big problem. It's a good question, too. Basically, because Disney is still so powerful, because they are. I mean, you can't be a powerful company and be able to have hundreds of millions of dollars of losses every single year for the past several years. I mean, 2023 was their best year, or sorry, 2024 last year was their best year by far because they had $3 billion films, the only $1 billion films from last year, right? They had Moana 2, they had Inside Out 2, and they had Deadpool and Wolverine. So those are three huge wins for them to put on their belt. But every other year, it's been basically running in the red in many situations by quite a bit, in fact. I mean, going back to, I misspoke earlier about 2023. 2023 was a terrible year where they had almost about $1 billion worth of losses from just the movies they showed theatrically. let alone the losses that they were running with Disney Plus, which they claim has just recently become profitable. Again, I kind of hold my nose at that and would really, like someone to look into those financials, an outside third party to look into those financials for a lot of different reasons. But unfortunately, they are still very powerful. Their stock price, though not as powerful and as high as it once was, is still relatively high. And they are clearly making money in enough places to justify and to move ahead with whatever losses that they're dealing with here. So unfortunately, it would take years of this kind of box office performance to actually have an effect, I think, in any real way. That's why I've consistently said this for a long time, and I still hold to it. The only way any change is ever going to happen at Disney is if stockholders or the board or whoever has actual power and influence actually stand up and say, all right, enough is enough. That's just the only way that anything is going to actually happen. The only way that anyone's going to be held accountable, because it's not going to be the people running it now. There would have to be a complete clean sweep, and I just don't know or think that anyone who might even feel or consider themselves to be in any way connected with this thought and the mindset that the Fellowship has now had for many years has any position of power, let alone any desire to bring about said change. But that's what you would have. That's what you would need to actually be able to bring about any real change, unfortunately. We had Raichu dropping the pepperoni pizza emoji. What's going on, Raichu? Thank you for the $5 super chat just with the pizza. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Jumping back into the chat, we got Jimmy A hanging out, 733, saying, did you see the new Mission Impossible trailer? It looked good, but it relied way too much on nostalgia, in my opinion. If it's brand new, then I have not. If it's from like the last few weeks or months, then maybe. Yeah, I mean, whatever trailer that I saw, I remember it definitely relied on nostalgia, and that's just the thing, though, is that it kind of needs to, because the last film just did not do very well. And it might have been because they relied a bit too much on just the movie itself and the imagery and the spectacle of the stunts to try to drive people out there, because normally that's been successful for them in the past. But clearly they had a mistake there. I honestly think it wasn't the movie. The movie was fantastic. The movie was a lot of fun. But how they released it was awful. They had this very weird early release. People were confused, had no idea that it was actually already out in theaters, and then because of that type of staggered release, it didn't catch fire. And obviously it's a multitude of things, right? You add to the fact that it's, the 7th, 8th film in the franchise. It is a seemingly just continuing on this story that seems to be pretty repetitive in many ways, despite the fact that it is still fun and entertaining. So all of those with the bad release, I think, really led up to it. And other things, too, led up to a very less than stellar box office result. So relying on nostalgia is probably their marketing move to say, let's remind people why they enjoyed the franchise. And also that it makes sense logically to have it because this is the end. Again, according to them, this is the final chapter of the Mission Impossible franchise as far as the Tom Cruise iteration of it is. Now, again, whether they try to reboot it down the line or whatever, I think that would be a mistake to do. At least it'd have to be a long time before that would actually ever happen. But we know Hollywood does not have any patience with those kinds of things. But it does make sense for them to do that. So banking on nostalgia is not the worst thing. The big question is how much new and how many new things are you going to be able to accomplish in addition to that? And are you going to be able to stick the landing? Jury's still out on that for them. The Morak saying, I'm happy for the kids. It's great to see them having fun. Also happy for the theaters. They needed a weekend like this. Oh, absolutely, Morak, right? As critical as I am as the movie and as stupid as it is as a movie, and as stupid as it is that this kind of movie is making money, there's no doubt I'm happy for theaters because, yeah, theaters needed this, not just for this weekend, but just really needed a big win. They needed the money, basically. And I think there's a reason why I was, earlier, I do have AMC stock, not a whole lot, but I am an AMC stockholder, full disclosure. And I remember watching earlier and getting the report that they actually saw a pretty decent size increase. Now, the stock is still like crap. I mean, we're talking single digits as far as the actual value is concerned. It's really not very very much not good stock. Even Cinemark is in the double digits. AMC stock is not good right now. But I think the big increase probably was because of the performance of something like a Minecraft. So if it does well in the second weekend, right, I hope it does only for the sake of the theaters. I don't like when bad movies do well, though, as well, because it gives Hollywood the wrong idea. Hollywood then takes that idea and overdoes it. It's like when you hear songs on the radio all the time and overplay them to the point where people don't want to hear them anymore. Back in the day, it was like Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. I really enjoy that song. However, it got to the point where it got so overplayed, you were like, okay, I'm kind of tired of listening to this. That's what's going on with Hollywood. They get these movie ideas and they capture lightning in a bottle and they think, oh, we can force that. And then they are inevitably wrong about that conclusion and then pump out a bunch of copycats that are as soulless as the original and sometimes even more so. I honestly think that's the reason why I'm of two minds with this, right? I'm of that financial side where it's like, look, I'm happy for theaters doing well. I want them to survive. I love the movie theater. I love going to the theater. It's been my happy place for a very long time now. But I'm also going to be honest and say I have not had the desire to go to a physical theater in a very, very long time. There have not been any movies recently that have really made me want to go. There's a lot of great indie films out that are great stories, but they're kinds of films that I would rather check out at home. In the myriad of ways you can check out movies these days at home, right? You have VOD, you've got streaming. There's plenty of options for watching content these days. And most of the time it's like, look, I don't even want to bother going through the process of going out to the theater. And that is the state of apathy that it's not just me, but it's a lot of other people too are really falling into it. Not to mention, of course, when you get to that state in life when you've got the younger kids and you don't have a lot of good showtimes to be able to actually go and see. And so when the showtimes you're working with are like 8:30 and you're exhausted from work, you're exhausted with the kids, you're just like, oh, I don't know if I could survive that. I don't know if I could stay awake for that long, right? Any parents out there, you completely understand. Any full-time workers, you fully understand. You know, if you're in your mid-late 30s, like, okay, yeah, guess what? I can't do that anymore to the same level, to the same degree. But all of that being said, right, I'm of two minds. I'm happy when the theaters are making money, but I wish that it was them making money with good movies. It was them making money with great movies, in fact. And it doesn't have to all be, indie, snobbish, intellectual styles, right? You all know I enjoy a fun movie. I enjoy A Beekeeper, A Working Man, right? But those are themselves not movies necessarily that I would want to go out and see. I think that Top Gun Maverick is a great example, right? It's a film that I loved watching. It's a popcorn level movie, but has just enough quality for it to be more than just your run-of-the-mill popcorn flick. That's the standard I think that we should be striving for. And even that one, calling that the standard, is still a sequel. It's still not original material, right? The ideal would be having great original films coming out of those levels so that you can then justify having those smaller films also coming through the theaters as well. I always appreciate and shout out the Film Threat guys because they do wonderful work by talking about the larger films to get more attention on the smaller indies. Most of the best films from last year, at least on my list, came because of their recommendation and ended up being independent movies. Anyway, Justin C. 734. Hail and good evening to you. King and Rumsky, I have this bet I was thinking about making with you. How do you feel about pineapple pizza? Nope. Not going to make it. Not going to make it. Because guess what? I'm not going to make any bets on Minecraft until those week 2 numbers are officially in. Because this is the kind of movie that could go either way. We could see a catastrophic drop-off next weekend, and it wouldn't surprise me. We could see a catastrophic hold, right? An amazing hold, better word for it, and it wouldn't surprise me either, based off of the current market and the reactions that we're seeing. So this is, again, very much a 50-50 territory. If it was me, I would be leaning more towards the film making $1 billion. Because that's all we have right now. All we have is, hey, here were the projections. Here's where it ended up. We'll do a full analysis of that in a little bit. Rob D. Hello, Odin. Did you ever watch any Clint Eastwood movies, either as an actor or director? I watched an older movie of his called Bloodwork. It was pretty good. There are so many Clint Eastwood films I have not seen. I do actually own his collection. It's right above my head. You see right next to the Templar Odin plushie. It's right next to him. You'll see little Clint Eastwood. There he is, right up there. There's Clint Eastwood. So I have his like 20 film collection, right, of the films he was in and directed. And I've seen some of the classics. So Dirty Harry, for instance, he's great. Some of the more modern stuff that he's been in, which has also been great. Gran Torino, I think, of course, is probably his best of the modern films that he has done. So yeah, I've seen several Clint Eastwood movies, but there are still a plethora of Clint Eastwood films that I've not yet seen. Bloodwork being one of them. I've not seen Bloodwork. I actually hadn't heard of Bloodwork either. J.S. Pena says, "Ahoy, ahoy to you." J.S. Pena then saying, I knew Minecraft would be bad, but from what I've heard, I didn't think it would be this bad. Oh, it's awful. I think it was Jeremy. Shout out to D-Day Cobra. He said that he walked out of the theater. At least that was the title of his video. And honestly, I'm not surprised, because it's just not a Minecraft movie. Like, that's like, really, when it comes down to it, I can take a bad movie, but it's not even a Minecraft movie. Like, Minecraft's in the title, and there are those Minecraft elements there, but it really isn't a Minecraft movie. Like, honestly, I would much rather have had an animated movie in Minecraft. Like, there's so many really cool stories that you could have done that could have been, almost. You know what? Here's what I would rather have a Lord and Miller version of a Minecraft movie, because look what they did with the Lego movie. And this is coming from someone, by the way, I hated the Lego movie. I did not like it. Did not find it funny. Lego Batman, chef's kiss. Lego Batman is hilarious. From the very opening credits, when you get the voiceover, it's great. But the point is that you can still do that in a way where I would still argue a heck of a lot more entertaining is the Lego movie than the Minecraft movie. But that's the kind of level of comedy that you would have needed for this film, in my opinion, to be more successful, right? Because imagine if it had if all you needed was a Minecraft movie with some live action stuff to get a certain audience to come out. Imagine if the film had been good. Imagine if this was actually a good Minecraft movie. My Lord, you would have not only that huge audience that has shown up, bringing its global total to $300 million, but then you would also have people like me and others on board too. Because it would actually have maybe been an entertaining, fun movie, objectively. But unfortunately, it was not. Jimmy A., I think Minecraft will make $5 Stevillion dollars. I don't know how much a Stevillion dollar is worth today in the real world, but it is what it is. Mr. Roy, hello. What's going on, Mr. Roy? Michael Burgett, what's up? Saying, hey, Odin, Paul Walter Hauser had a wild weekend with his new film, The Luckiest Man in America, releasing as well as him wrestling in pro wrestling event. He feels like an everyman actor. Paul Walter Hauser is a great actor. I enjoy him in Cobra Kai. My favorite role of his might have to be I think it was his debut leading performance in a film, Richard Jewell. Richard Jewell's great. If you've never seen Richard Jewell, might be the last great, speaking of Clint Eastwood, it might be the last great Clint Eastwood movie. I'm trying to think of if there was anything after Richard Jewell that he did, because he's done some stuff. Like, The Mule was just not good. He did have a Juror Number 2, which was okay. Like, that was, to me, a much stronger return to form. But Richard Jewell was, like, to me, as far as quality, not necessarily as far as enjoyment, but as far as quality, was Gran Torino levels. That's where I would put Richard Jewell. So I love the work that Paul Walter Hauser did. Again, Film Threat guys mentioned that film, at least, I was going to say Steve Gore, Chris Gore, right? He has seen it and saw it. It's on my list. So I am very much looking forward to seeing that. Might even go to the theaters to actually watch it, because I do like some Paul Walter Hauser. Kimberly G, Killing Shadowcat. What's going on, Kimberly G? Welcome back. Rob D, I think Minecraft will hit $1 billion. Minecraft appeals to the slop content generation, which is currently YouTube thrives on. That's a good point. I mean, this is coming from a guy, right, saying, I don't understand it, this is stupid. This is coming from the guy that also knows full well that the whole skibbity toilet phenomenon is is a thing with this generation. Though I think it was RK Outpost Ryan who said that Skibbity Toilet even has a better story than this movie had. So there is that. Let's see, Geek True 64, what's going on, brother? Shout out to Geek True 64, awesome channel. If you have any videos that you would want to watch on physical media coverage, he's got you. He says here, I thought Minecraft had the potential to capture some of the Jumanji remake crowd. Couple that with fans of the game, I thought it would do pretty well, but not this well. Yeah, I don't think anyone could have projected this, right? Even Box Office Theory, who was being a bit more bullish on the projections, right? They had it at 100 million-ish as far as its domestic opening. Much higher than the traditional, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter nonsense, right? That you often Tony at Deadline nonsense. They had the film at like 60 to 70 million. Then the opening night came out, and actually maybe it started off at like 50 to 60. Then the opening night came out, and they were like, oh yeah, you know what? Maybe it'll make 75 to 80. And then like by Saturday, they were like, okay, this is making 130 million. And then by Sunday, they were still wrong. It was like over $156 million in its domestic opening. So, and it's actually adjusted since, and it's up to $162 million in its domestic opening. So it just, that's another reason to enjoy it, because even though the film is terrible and I just don't like it, the fact is it's helping theaters. That's a big thing, but it also is a huge slap in the face to all the mainstream media box office coverage, because all of these people, and they hated it too, right? The difference is that they are hating it from the lens of a snob, right? They're the critic elite class. How dare the plebs are able to do this in front of us? How dare they be able to prove us wrong in different ways? It's always great to see that class fail, get things so incredibly wrong, right? This film made almost triple the projection of Deadline and mainstream media outlets when it comes to their initial projections. They embarrassed them this weekend. It was great. Sahil99, hello. What was the last movie that helped the theaters as much as Minecraft is doing so now? Hard to say. Man, I'm sure people could think about other examples, but summer of last year, you would have to think the long run of Inside Out 2 was big. Moana 2 was big, but it didn't leg as much. Deadpool Wolverine, of course, was massive for theaters too. Add to that, right, the popcorn buckets and everything like that. There was a lot of money with Deadpool Wolverine, so that might have been the last really, really big one. There might have been something over the holiday season that was able to drive it, but I don't think any of them drove it nearly as much as Deadpool Wolverine did. So as far as like that level, yeah, Minecraft is probably the first since Deadpool Wolverine. I mean, that's how big these numbers are, guys. Twisted Reality saying Memecraft. Maybe. Sir Lanceolato, bro, how long has it been and where have you been? Lanceolato, what's going on? Hail to you. Thank you for being in the chat. Lee Mitchell, hail, big guy. What's going on, Lee Mitchell? Rob D, I agree with you, Odin. We need more video game movies like Tetris, where it's not about the game, it's about how the game came to be. I'd love to see a movie on the creation of the NES. Yeah, dude, if you've never seen Tetris before, that's a beautiful film. Fantastic film. But I will say, Rob, the only disagreement with you is I think that as much as there is that Tetris movie about the making of how it came to be, and there's an espionage level, it's an amazing movie, okay? It covers every single aspect that you could ever hope for in a movie like that. There's even a car chase scene in it. You're like, what? What's going on here? Now, I think that went a little over the top, but still, it was fun, right? But you do still need to have your actual gameplay movies. But you need to have it be where it's actually the game itself and not whatever it is that they decided to do in this movie. Because as I said, there's just not a whole lot of Minecraft going on in the Minecraft movie. And I personally am like, that's a big problem. You have a movie called the Minecraft movie or a Minecraft movie, and yet you're so caught up in this focus on the human characters that are really not all that interesting, very one-dimensional, boring, not funny, not entertaining, and this is what you get. You get nonsense. All right. Before heading back into the chat, I do need to shout out a couple people real quick. So first, Geek Truth 64. Thank you very much for becoming a member at the Citizen of Asgard level. I appreciate you. Welcome to that Citizen level. You get access to exclusive podcasts I do here on the channel. Try to do it once a month as best I can. So just go to the membership tab to get access to all of the previous podcast episodes. And also another shout out to Raichu. Thank you very much, Raichu, for another super chat. This time a $2 super chat saying any hope for the upcoming Skibidi Toilet movie. Not from me. Not from me. Because honestly, I care so little about it. I would not be the best unbiased person to give you an idea. I don't even know what's going on with the film as far as how far it is going along. Lee Mitchell, I've always wanted to know, what kind of music are you into? It's crazy. Honestly, it is the most bizarre combination of things that does not make any sense, okay? Because I would say I like musical theater. I love the scores of musicals. And you think, wow, okay. I'm sure there's certain words that the FNT crowd would like to say. But then I also like classic rock. And then I also like Screamo. But specifically one band, Screamo. And that is even just one album of that one band. It's called Define the Great Line by the band Under Oath. That is a phenomenal album. I love it. Breaking Benjamin, phenomenal band. Everything I listen to from them, I tend to enjoy. But then I also really like this one artist who used to be in a pop band, like a pop rock band, went solo as a country artist, and now is back in like the pop like singles territory. Her name is Cassidy Pope. She has really great music too, as far as just rhythm, and she can sing really well. It is so random. Favorite band of all time is still Jethro Tull. Love me some Jethro Tull, right? That's classic rock. Classic rock is my heart. That's what I was grew up with. My dad raised me on classic rock. He raised me on a lot of Beatles, The Doors, Pink Floyd. I wouldn't call myself hardcore fans though of them. As far as concerts go, I was 11 years old or younger when I went to my first Jethro Tull concert. I was the youngest there by decades, easily. And it was hilarious because I still have these memories where all of these adults are looking at me like, what the heck is this kid doing here? Like, what is he doing? But I loved it. A good friend of mine when I was growing up, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, we had a carpool, and his dad had this cassette tape back in the day with the cassette tapes. I'm sure people in the chat would be like, oh, you think cassette tapes are old? Well, on my day. So cassette tapes in the car with the tape deck. And there was the one album. It was, I believe it was Aqualung was the album. And he would play it all the time. And I fell in love. It was so much fun. So I liked it so much. I wanted the cassette for myself. So I got it for like a birthday or something. And they were coming in town in New Orleans because that's where I was born and raised. And yeah, went to see them twice in concert before age 15 because I was a huge fan. And Ian Anderson, the lead singer and flautist, was phenomenal. One of the times I saw him, he was actually in a wheelchair because he had a stage dive accident where he dove off the stage, wasn't caught, and like broke his back and had to play in a wheelchair. And he was still rocking out. He was like rolling around on stage, would get the flute from the back and just go. I love it. Jethro Tull stuff. Anyway, I don't talk about music a whole lot here on the channel, but for anyone who've ever asked that question, one of the reasons why I probably don't talk about it is because I just have such a random liking of different music styles. If I had to say anything, the two styles, the two genres, I'm almost entirely are modern country, most country, but modern country. I had to stipulate modern country because if we're going like old school, I wouldn't even call them country necessarily. But if you're going like Johnny Cash, one of those persons, like, okay, there's like a country element, I guess you could say. Maybe folk. I don't know exactly what you would call it, but Anyway, like modern stuff, ugh. Other than like a couple examples like Cassidy Pope, her album, her country album, I actually like. Again, random songs from it that I've listened to a few times. And then rap, especially modern rap, can't stand it. No, thank you. Michael Brigette, the new Mission Impossible trailer dropped this morning. I have not seen that new one, but probably a good idea for them to go nostalgic. Caveat Ties saying, hey, I don't pick up highest Minecraft review on critic lists. Oh my goodness. Man, I tell you, the critic list crowd, it's like a fight going on right now over on there, specifically about Minecraft. And with that being said, I'll jump back into the chat in a little bit, but I do want to, of course, talk about the numbers in a more formal way. And so you know what that means. We're talking about numbers here, okay? So you need to stand back, all right? Hold your breath, but not for too long, because you're about to witness something incredible.
Time to see a real mathematician at work.
That's right, everybody. It's time for the math. To see a real mathematician at work. Not like some of those other channels where their math is sometimes faulty or just not really as in-depth. So as you can see, over on thenumbers.com, we have the total for the weekend. Let me just refresh just to make sure. Yes, indeed, $162.7 million was the total domestic opening. Going back, okay, Tony at Deadline, and a lot of the other mainstream media people, including Warner Brothers themselves, said, oh yeah, the film will make $60-70 million. The Thursday numbers came in. It made around $10 million when it's opening Thursday. And they said, oh, okay, maybe 75, maybe 80 million or so. And then all of a sudden the Friday numbers came in and they're like, ooh, okay, maybe north of 100 million, maybe 135 million. I think later in the day they updated it to that. And then what did it end up doing? 162. So they were wrong every single step of the way. Now, again, I personally do not do the whole projection game when it comes to opening weekends. I'm the guy where it's like, okay, give me the data. Let me tell you what it means. Let me tell you what this means for this movie with the budget and likely marketing costs. That's where my job and my focus comes in. All right. So, hey, kudos to the people that try to, prognosticate this stuff and predict this stuff, because it takes a special kind of person to be able to do those things. And a lot of times they can be very accurate, right? A shout out especially to Sean Robbins over on Box Office Theory, because, hey, at least he had a $30 million advantage as far as his projections were concerned on the movie, and he doesn't have a running tally. So he doesn't get to update them as the weekend goes on, as the days go on. And so the fact that he was even closer, again, puts me having a lot more faith in someone like him than someone like a Tony at Deadline or in other places. But yeah, 162 million. Even also as impressive, $150 million in the internationals. Looking how this is broken down, right? 19.3 million opening in United Kingdom, 14.5 million opening in China. This film is set to make quite a bit of money, in fact, in China. Now, of course, I'm going to always call out any studio as they release films in China because they're communists. And that means most of this money is going to the Chinese Communist Party, which means they will be able to continue to fund their nefarious operations. But I digress. That's my go-to whenever there is a film that has a lot of money coming from China. But as you can see, the production budget is reported to have been $150 million, and after only one weekend, it's at 2.1 times its budget. For an idea of what that means, all right, and I actually have to update this this chart in real time because the number is much higher, right? So $313 million is indeed the official opening weekend. So let's put that into the chart. Remember, everybody, okay? Remember that most films on average tend to make about 30% of their entire box office, or roughly a third of their entire box office in their opening weekend, the global opening. If that indeed is the case and that holds out, guess what? That means that, and again, this is the normal chart, so ignore that 2-week number. This number here, 940, if the Minecraft movie has an average run from this point forward, it has just your standard drop, your standard run at the box office, then this film would be able to get to $940 million worldwide. That's insane. in a world where I thought, maybe this film might make some money because clearly there's an audience for it, right? The kids that I teach are that 16 to 17-year-old demographic. They were all like, yeah, I'm going to see it. Yeah, all of us are going to see it. And their reaction from them is they were like, oh, I loved it. It was so good. Oh, it's the best thing ever. Again, this is the madness of the modern day, okay? We try to teach them. We try to teach them a better way, but they still fall into these traps, right? Of the very bright, flashy lights that sometimes these films, these flash in the pans things can often do. But that's crazy, all right? An average run. So that means if this film continues to do what it just did opening weekend, right? Remember, the traditional tracking said $60 to $70 million or so, and it made 160. So if it has that kind of overperformance going into next weekend, okay, $1 billion is easy. On the table, no doubt about it. If the film gets to over $500 million globally by the end of next weekend, there's a good chance. There's a decent shot for it to be able to hit $1 billion, because that would mean if it just doubles that, which again is definitely on the higher end of projections at that point, would mean that $1 billion mark is on that table. But right now, all we have is the opening weekend, so we don't have anything else other than that. But that $150 million budget is key, because yes, that's a lot of money. That's nothing, though, compared to the minimum $270 million budget of Snow White, whereas a film like that in today's world, because of how the markets work, would probably need to make around $810 million. Minecraft only needs to make $450 million to break even. So I will go ahead and right now and say, even if the film does not get to $500 million, I think it will by the end of the second weekend. I think this movie will easily break even by the end of the weekend, right? By Sunday, this week, Minecraft will have broken even officially. So even if it doesn't get to $1 billion, even if it caps out at $600-700 million, I think it'll do more than that. It's going to make a pretty good penny in profits. We're talking about, I think, a minimum $100 million in net profits for this movie. And if I were guessing on these numbers, again, just pure guesswork at this point, I would have to say that the chance of this movie making not only its budget, but also marketing costs back, so making $220-ish million in net profits, is a very strong possibility. And that's huge, because you not only pay for your own movie, you then also pay for your sequel and even your follow-up sequel to boot. Now, whether or not they should do that is something for an entirely different day, because I think that they are in many ways right capturing that lightning in a bottle. Can't say the same for Captain America Brave New World, which, of course, as we all know, needed to make closer to $900 million to break even based off of the current trends, and that's not happening. This movie, however, might actually just go ahead and do that. And this is a big win for Warner Brothers. They needed this. They've had a lot of flops in the past, a lot of flops. But this is a clear victory for them. Just to get some comparisons, okay? Super Mario Brothers, Barbie. The fact that it's even in that discussion is amazing, because both of those films were what? Guess what they were? $1.4 billion films. Again, adjusting for inflation. But still, $1.4 billion films. This is in the same category, at least based solely off of its domestic opening, all right? By the end of the first Sunday, Minecraft, $162.7 million. Where was the Super Mario Brothers movie at the same point? $211. Now, this is where, again, some people gave me flack for in the comments section on my box office breakdown. I said, some people were arguing that, Minecraft broke the record by Super Mario Brothers as being the biggest opening weekend in the history of video game movies. And I pushed back a little bit on that and said, okay, if we're just going 3 days, okay, I guess you can argue that, right? But then you would have to say it is the biggest opening the biggest 3-day opening for a video game movie. Which would also mean then you would have to say the biggest 5-day opening for a video game movie is still the Super Mario Brothers movie. For me, it's all about, okay, what's your actual opening? What is your total number by the end of Sunday? If you're going on for that metric, then guess what? It's still the Super Mario Brothers movie. This is also, again, not someone trying to defend Super Mario Brothers. I did not like that movie either. But it drives me crazy when people oftentimes will say something and not give you the full context. Because, again, this does not take away anything from Minecraft. That's a huge opening weekend. $162 million. That is more than what Mario made individually on its Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But because Super Mario also had a big opening on, for its release, it opened on I think on a Tuesday. On a Tuesday of, I think it was Holy Week back in 2023. It had that rolling number there. And so it was able to, and even, I think if that was Easter back then, that was April 5th of 2023. So someone in the chat, if you can confirm that was Easter weekend, it would also explain why this film dropped to $35 million on Easter Sunday. Because you have people going out to the theaters, but you have a lot more people going to mass, right, for different things. But the fact also, this is up against Barbie. Now, Barbie had a higher opening weekend when you adjust for inflation, again, because it had a massive opening Thursday and Friday. Blew both of these movies out of the water when it came to Thursday, Friday numbers. But 162 million to 167, that's pretty darn close. And Barbie was a huge movie with very effective marketing. Minecraft did not have very good marketing. Remember how it was what the first trailer got ratioed to heck because of how badly it was received? And yet somehow, some way, they were able to finagle their way into the minds of these young people to want to go see it. And I think someone made the point earlier, maybe it's because of influencers mentioning the film, talking about it, promoting it maybe. Because last thing I'll mention before jumping back into the chat, look what's happening over on Critic List. So the early reviews coming in for the film were pretty mixed, but this film was a solid bogus rated movie when I had reviewed my film, right? When I put my review in, this had already been a certified bogus. But there has been a huge influx of people coming in and dropping, in my opinion, pretty insane reviews. Okay? So I think this film is heinous. As I say, this movie is just downright awful. As someone who has played a little Minecraft but has seen a ton of gameplay, the references throughout are just not worth the bad jokes, the terrible writing, and ultimately the boring film that we get. The movie will make a lot of money opening weekend. Again, correct on that. Probably more by the end of its run, and I can maybe even see why some teens find some things funny, but anyone praising it, shout out to Blaine, who I think overpraised it to an insane degree. And then my question to them is, were you stoned/tipsy? It's the only thing I can think of to enjoy it. But you've got some rad scores, some decent scores. I can respect the decent scores here. You got some bogus scores, which I think are much more on the money. But then you got 90% scores coming in. A 90%? Are you kidding me? For the Minecraft movie? Now, to be fair, I do love the critics community because if you actually look at these reviews, most of it's pretty fair. Most of it's pretty darn fair, I think. And there are people coming in dropping zeros or single digits on the film, and I also don't really like that either. Right? I gave it a 10%, a 1 out of 10. That's pretty much where I stand. I on a good day, I'd be at a 2 out of 10, maybe a 20% heinous. But that would actually be a low bogus score. But the fact is that doesn't matter what I think, doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, doesn't matter what the general reviews are. The film is making bank. And because of the fact that an average run would bring this film to $940 million, and the film has already shown itself to not be having an average run, I think $1 billion is absolutely on the table for this. What say you? All right, going to jump back into the chat. But before we do, I got to give a shout out to this super chat that just came in. So a shout out to Wayward Noodle. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Saying, did you see the trailer for Tron Ares? It's the first time in over 4 or 5 years I was like, yes, let's do this. I know we have to wait and see, but could the tide actually be changing? I have not seen it. It must have just dropped. I know there was some footage at, what is it called? CinemaCon last week, and I heard very positive things about it. So it's definitely on my radar of things to check out. Some perspective on me. I saw the original Tron. Personally, I was not a fan. It was obviously of its time, of its era, but for me, I couldn't get past the cheesy effects. It was a little bit too much for me, and that's an issue I've had with a lot of older films when the effects are just too much. But I did see Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy was decent. I thought the score was phenomenal. I thought that the direction was pretty solid. But with the effects, again, so much better than the original. The way that they tried to make the younger Was it Kurt Russell? I couldn't handle it. No, not Kurt Russell. Sorry, it's not Kurt Russell. My goodness. I always get these two confused. I know that they're different people. I know that they're like maybe different ages, but oh my goodness. Drives me crazy. I'm going to wait for the chat. Jeff Bridges. Not Bo Bridges, Jeff Bridges. That was what I was looking for. Bo Bridges. Jeff Bridges. So the way that they de-aged Jeff Bridges was atrocious in that movie. Ugh. Disgusting. But Wayward Noodle, thank you for that super chat, man. Appreciate it. I'll have to check out that trailer. All right, heading back into the chat. Just another red shirt saying, if Disney parks lose their iconic position in the theme park industry, Disney's would have killed the goose that lays the golden eggs. Bro, I've been seeing some of this footage coming out of Epic Universe, and oh my gosh, it looks phenomenal. It looks like they knocked it out of the park. They're giving people exactly what people would expect going to that park. Like the How to Train Your Dragon stuff looks fantastic. So if the rides are good, because I'm a coaster guy, the coasters got to be good. If they've got good coasters to back up the theme aspect of it, dude, yeah, I think absolutely correct. Disney is going to be slaughtered by them. Geek264 saying, I skipped out on the last Mission Impossible movie because of it being labeled as part 1. Yeah, I definitely think a lot of people checked out for that reason too. Check out when I hear that I'm going to get half a movie, rather wait and see both parts together. Yeah. I still think it's worth seeing now because I do think it stands on its own to an extent. Jonah Wingster, well, Odin apparently had a fracture in my foot that didn't heal properly, and now I'm wearing Das Boot. It's weird getting used to, but I'm doing okay. My days of running away after doorbells are done, bro. No more ding-dong ditching for General Wingster, our pet troll. Wow. End of an era, one could say. A Goat 1971. My grown sons and young nieces and nephews all went to see it. Minecraft is a generational phenomenon. One of the biggest games of the last 20 years. Not surprised it's success like this. And again, A Goat, I get it. You're talking to someone who's played it a little bit, and it's fun. I'm just terrible at gaming. But I've seen hours of gameplay, all right? There was a channel back in the day. He probably is still there live called Syndicate. All right. And watching him play, he at one point was playing along with Captain Sparkles and a couple of others. Obviously PewDiePie got into Minecraft for a bit as well. But Syndicate was kind of like the main channel. I watched hours of that stuff. Okay. So I know a lot about the Minecraft universe. I know a lot about the gameplay. And that's why it's ticking me off, because that's the thing that people are saying. But as someone who has experienced the game and understands the references, I don't see why people are actually finding it to be clever in any way. Like, I was ticked off mostly because it did not feel like they were actually giving me a Minecraft movie. It was like, oh, great, here's another random Jack Black movie, him in front of a green screen, blue screen, whatever the heck technology they're using, human characters, and Minecraft is a second thought, essentially. Oh, there's a couple of references. Hey, there's your fan service. Now let's just go ahead and keep doing our skadoosh. Like, he might as well have said skadoosh and just done his full-on, Kung Fu Panda routine. And it would have been no different. He's very much one note these days. Rob D. Odin's getting 42-cent dividend checks from his AMC stock. I ain't getting no dividends. That's how well they're doing. There are no dividends to be found here. Jenna Wingster reminds me of Baby by Bieber, so overplayed. Yes. However, if you ever want to actually hear a great rendition of Justin Bieber's Baby, I think I've mentioned this before, all you need to do is look up the Justin Bieber / Slipknot. That's right. Justin Bieber / Slipknot mix of Baby with Psychosocial. In fact, just Google on YouTube, wherever, Psychosocial Baby, and you will hear, in my opinion, one of the greatest collaborations of all time. And again, it was all done by edits and stuff, and it works way too well. Anytime I hear the opening notes now to Justin Bieber's Baby, instead of like the whole, like the, you know you love me, No, that's not where my brain goes. My brain goes to, I did my time. No. You will never hear that song the same again, I promise you. Jenna Wingster, did you like it when Jack Black played Jack Black? I know, right? Wasn't it amazing when Jack Black went skadoosh across the screen and then, sang the Princess Peach song and then did everything else that Jack Black always does and everything? Then Atas Felicitas saying, sorry, I'm late. I was doing the dishes. No problem at all. We all got to do that stuff. Jimmy A. YouTube Shorts always loves to overplay songs. I've gotten so tired of hearing Anxiety by Doechi. Yeah, the one that I got fed a lot, I don't know if it was Shorts or Reels, but it's always like the dance things that randomly get fed to you. So it's the APT, Apata, that song. Oh my gosh. It's also an earworm. It's like, I don't like it, but it's also one you can't get out of your head. Jenna Wingster, remember, kids and parents should demand better. Us 80s and 90s kids were eating good. Yes, indeed. We had some of the best stuff, some of the best content out there. And the modern generation is spoiling it by giving money to this garbage. Cthulhu saying here, happy Monday. I'm glad that kids have something that they can enjoy at the movies. But wow, Minecraft is an incompetent movie. Almost makes me wish Snow White was successful. I know, right? I'm totally on board with you, Cthulhu. Again, subjectively, I'm happy that you're happy. I can't take that happiness away. I don't want to take that happiness away. But I also can't ignore the objective reality that there's a lot of problems going on here. Okay? Let's see. King and Rumsky over on Green Machine. Will the Minecraft movie even have any competition over the next month or so? Any blockbusters headed where? No. That's the thing, King and Rumsky. So if the film holds strong, like if this is a naturally strong movie, we'll know this weekend, right? Because if we see a catastrophic drop, that'll tell us, okay, this thing was front-loaded. There was a lot of people pushing to go see it. Opening weekend with their friends, like all that stuff, maybe even some influencers, like all that stuff can be accounted for. But if, again, big if, I don't think it's gonna happen though. We'll have to wait and see. But if there is a big drop off, that'll be why. It's front loaded. And if it's front loaded like an MCU film tends to be, and the drop off is severe, yeah, this film is gonna cap out pretty early and it's gonna cap out pretty quickly. Okay. However, if that does not happen, if we see a pretty strong or even just a, again, average level hold, guess what? That puts $900 million at least on the table. If the film holds better than average, now you have $1 billion on the table. So the second weekend is going to be crucial. I mean, it's crucial to every weekend. When it comes to what we do here on OMB Reviews, right? What I cover in my box office charting, with the projections on how much money a movie is going to make long-term total box office, and then going further to say, all right, what's the net gains, what's the net losses, right, after the fact. All of this ultimately is rooted in those first 2 weeks. They're so crucial for long-term success. So anyway, to your other point though, no, there are no blockbusters. There's nothing big coming out until Thunderbolts. There's a lot of wide releases, but none of them are anything that, based off of just looking at the list on, thenumbers.com is the release schedule I typically look at, and there's not a single thing on there that's going to move the needle, right? You have a film called The Amateur. Okay, maybe it makes some money. Can't think of it. King of Kings from Angel Studios. The embargo on that finally lifted. I'm going to be honest, I was pretty disappointed. In The King of Kings from Angel Studios. I'll have to put my review of the film up later now that the embargo has lifted. But this one's coming out over Easter, right? Coming out on the 11th. But even then, even if it was, Angel Studios does not move the needle a whole lot, right? There's a film called Warfare from A24. I'm actually interested in that one. That's actually from Alex Garland. It's co-directed. It's Alex Garland. And I know that a lot of y'all hated Civil War last year. I personally liked it. But this one is good. This one looks good because the other co-director is actually a former soldier, and it's bringing you into a very unique way where you're seeing in like real time, like the movie's played out in real time, what soldiers go through during like a mission or something like that. So it's like, that could be good. That's not going to make money though. I'm sorry, right? That's A24. So it might make A24 money, right? But it's not going to go anywhere near anything related to, bumping off the Minecraft movie from its number one spot. Then you have April 18th, Colorful Stage, the movie, a Miku Who Can't Sing from G-Kids, okay? Warner Brothers film called Sinners, Sneaks, The Wedding Banquet. Again, don't know what those are. April 25th, there's one that I kind of recognize, but it's not going to be a big moneymaker, The Accountant 2. I like the first one. It's Amazon MGM Studios. We'll have to wait and see. A24, The Legend of Oki, Until Dawn from Sony. Again, might make small money. None of that's going to be anywhere close to the amount of money that Minecraft made. And then you get all the way to May 2nd, and that's when you get Thunderbolts. So again, Thunderbolts right now early projections are like $60 to $70 million opening weekend. Maybe that increases, maybe that decreases. But yeah, Minecraft is going to be untouched as far as mass releases are concerned until May 2nd. So if the film is actually naturally doing well, if the film is not just front-loaded, there is nothing that can really slow it down. So yeah, this could make a lot of money. Like, sky is the limit at this point. Geek364. I love the physical media talk. Let's say it says, I have that Eastwood collection as well as that Fast and Furious collection, the tire collection, but I'm still jealous of that Rambo Steelbook set. Bro, I don't know how it worked out, but I actually got that Rambo Steelbook set for free. I got the hookup from John Flickinger, who had access to physical media review copies. And for some reason, I put the request in, and I thought, there's no way for some reason, they sent it to me. Now, even though it was free, unfortunately, and you know the issue with this, it came dented. Big old dent. And obviously, it's a free copy, so I can't be like, hey, can you send me another one? Can I trade this out? Because I was lucky enough to get that one. But anyway, that's the story of how I got the 4K Steelbook set for Rambo. But it's a beautiful set, man. Even with the dent, it's pretty. It's very, very pretty. Then as I was saying, it's a movie wearing a Minecraft skin suit. Ah, yes. I think that's a great way of describing it. And by the way, Geek264, what I love about the tire collection from Fast and Furious, one, it's again, back when studios cared a lot more about physical media and gave us like fun releases and fun collector's editions. That's one of my favorites, right? Because it's actual rubber for the tire itself. But what's also cool about it is that it left space because that version was released right before Fast and Furious 7. And so it actually in there had a little fake plastic disc that said, leaving room for Furious 7. And I hated Furious 7 so much because clearly it got hurt by losing Paul Walker, right? By losing Paul Walker during filming, it hurt the film in many ways, and the movie just wasn't good. 1 through 6 are so much fun. 3 is my favorite. It's that guilty pleasure one that like some people love, some people hate. I'm on the love side. I think it's just a fun, stupid movie. And again, also to those who are like, you just like all the intellectual stuff. Bro, I like the Fast and Furious movies. There ain't nothing intellectual going on when it comes to those movies, okay? 1 through 6, phenomenal. 7 sucked, and everything after that's even worse. But I love it because it's like, oh, thanks for leaving me that space for 7. And, of course, I did get 7 because I was, at that time, a bit of a completionist in my collecting. I have since broken those ways because I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm buying Fast 8, Fast 9, and everything else. I was sent Fast 10 to review. So that's like the only other Fast and Furious film that I have. But that was sent for free, so I don't really count that. All right, let's see. Shorty Short saying, did you get a chance to see Mobland yet? I'm finding it hard to enjoy Pierce Brosnan as a villain. Yeah, I much prefer him as a good guy, but I liked it so far. I saw one episode. I saw the first episode of Mobland, and so far, I'm enjoying it. I find it fun. Rob D, I think Clint Eastwood's last acting movie was Cry Macho, which absolutely sucked, if you ask me. Oof. Wait a minute. No, because he was in The Mule. Did Cry Macho come out after The Mule? Would love to hear that. Jimmy A, did you hear Rami Malek showed up to an early screening of The Amateur and thanked the audience? It was a cool thing to do, and I like to see an actor thank their fans. He seems like a cool guy. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, I went to go see, when I was living in New York, because when I was up there for college, I got to go to a couple of like test screenings, early screenings. And the one that was the coolest for me was we went to a test screening of an early copy of Tropic Thunder. And all we knew was that it was an early one. And then all of a sudden down the aisle comes Ben Stiller to introduce the movie. That was cool. That was probably the coolest moment I could think of when it comes to like movies are concerned. Let's see. And then Geek Truth, thank you again for becoming a member. I do appreciate that. Let's see. I got to that one. General Wingster, Odin, we need Morbius to come in and save the day. It's Minecraft in time. Could you imagine? If we got a Morbius Minecraft crossover film? Now, that would be something I'd want to go see. Gee, I remember you saying that none of the kids that grew up playing with Minecraft will watch that movie, but a lot of Gen Z kids were watching it. Now it's making close to Mario movies. No. Okay, so, again, please be clear with what I said, all right? I said that the ones who grew up like my age, not likely to be the ones to show up for it. And to my knowledge, the ones who are my age did not like it. I mean, I look to Ryan RK Outpost. I look to others. And I wouldn't say Jeremy's my age because he's older than me. You know, he's an old man at this point. But yeah, the ones in my age group did not like it. And we're the ones where it came out when we were still in high school. All right. That's how old this game is. So we were the ones that were playing it, right? Because the high school kids back then, like they were the one, nowadays, everyone has access to a computer now. Back then, I mean, you really didn't have access to it if you were that young. Maybe you did, but again, it wasn't as common as it is today, right? I think most of us can at least admit that much. No. The crowd that's showing up for this right now are the teens that are playing it, have been playing it maybe since they were themselves kids, but they're of this very different generation, right? They're part of what Gen Z, Gen Alpha actually, maybe the generation coming up. So no. Make sure you do not throw words around, okay? I will say this much. I was wrong in that I did not think it was going to make this much money. I did not think it was going to be this successful. However, it was not because of the crowd that you're talking about. Jimmy A, do you like the Talking Heads? Are they the band that did the one song where it's like, same as it ever was? Same as it ever was. That's the only song I know by them, and I adore it because of how ridiculous it is. Anyway, Dr. Halsey says, your dad raised you right. I appreciate that. Yes, he did. We used to do, he worked a lot, and so we didn't spend too much time. So the way that he tried to make up all that time he was working was he would take me and my brothers on camping trips every year. And so we would drive across Louisiana. We would drive all the way, most of the way, across Texas. So that's a very long drive. But ultimately, we would drive to Colorado, and we would go camping in the Rocky Mountains. And it was awesome. Like, some of the best experiences of my life were on those trips. And we always started off the trip with Dark Side of the Moon, because normally we would be leaving like late at night. And so it was just appropriate for us to do that. Man, now I'm having flashbacks of that. I'm like, oh, childhood. Man. Short saying, my first concert was Barry Manilow with my mom. Nice. That's awesome. Short saying, that Superman trailer was high cringe. Wait, there's a new one? Because the first one just was so meh. The Modern Major General, I played jazz flute. Yeah, I'm probably the only one my age when Anchorman came out. The moment he's playing the flute, right? I was the only one probably who said, hey, he's doing Aqualung. He's doing Jethro Tull. He's doing Ian Anderson. And then all of a sudden when he yells, Aqualung, I'm like, I get that reference. And I bet a lot of people older than me got that reference. But I was probably one of the few in my own age group at that time when that film came out was like, hey, I know them. I know them. Then Felicita saying, were you happy that Jethro Tull won the best heavy metal band at the Grammys, dude? Yeah, so when I finally got, older and started doing research, Wikipedia and all that stuff, right, in the internet age, and found out more about them. Yeah, when I finally found out that they actually had won for best heavy metal band, I was like, that's amazing, because they're not metal. But I could see why they might be constituted that, because that was... they had been around since, I think the 50s. People forget how long they were a band. The fact is, there's a lot of bands that list them as an inspiration. I think, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I want to say maybe the Beatles were of a same time as them. But a lot of the rock bands from, the 70s and 80s, Jethro Tull was an inspiration for them. So they inspired a ton of metal bands. And if you listen to some of the guitar riffs, there's some metal stuff in there. But yeah, in the modern conception of metal, there is not much there. Jay Price agreed. It is awful. Carl Jacobs, I expect you to say classical music. No. Nothing against it. I've just have never found it all that interesting. I do like, and this is going to be very Catholic of me, I do like Gregorian chant, but that's specifically for prayer. I don't like... walk around all day rocking out to Gregorian chant, right? That's if I need to pray, if I need to study, Gregorian chant's really good to listen to. Jenna Wingster is a member saying, I'm a Garth Brooks kind of guy. I like that era of country. Okay. You do you, boo. Not again, that's just I've just never really liked it. All country sounds the same to me. And maybe that's because I'm so used to the modern country, but it's always you're going to have a twang and guitar. I got this pickup truck in my t-shirt. Gonna grab some beers. American flag. Girls. That's every single country song in my mind. And again, I know that that's obviously, judging. But hey, that's what we do here. I am the critic who is the cynic, after all. Hardwick, the new Mission Impossible trailer was released today. I think it looks good, but it does use a lot of clips from the previous movies. And again, I haven't seen it, but I think that might be the move to make. Justin C., suppose the two positives to come from the success of Minecraft is it helps theaters and sends Snow White into the box office obscurity. That is yet another one for sure. Jimmy A., I listened to the clean versions, but I like good bit of today's rap. Not today's. No, not. I'm glad that you listen to the clean stuff. I just can't do it, man. Can't. But now, of course, I think of Gangster's Paradise, but what I really mean to say is I think of the Weird Al Yankovic rendition of it, which is Amish Paradise. I love the beat of that. Jenna Waster says, play it. Play what? As time goes by, play it, Sham. Can't get Rumsky. That's the stuff. Oh, okay. I'm finally catching up with the chat. That was 8:06. It's 8:42. So I'm almost 40 minutes behind in the chat. So if you're just in the chat right now and wondering, what is he reading? What is he talking about? It's 8:06 in the chat. I fall behind. It happens. Short driving. Be safe. Hopefully you got home by this point. It's been 40 minutes. Carl Jacobs. They did the math. They did the monster math. They did the math. It was a graveyard graph. I appreciate those lines so much. Cthulhu. You need to listen to Modern Country by Sean James and Sarah Jaros, who are amazing. I don't know them. Let's see. Jimmy A., have you seen where people have been going crazy throwing popcorn and stuff in the theater for Minecraft? No, but that actually makes me mad. As someone who worked at a theater and had to clean up those screens, that makes me very mad. No, please do not throw popcorn at a screen. Unless you are going to see a midnight showing of The Room, where it is expected you to throw spoons at the screen. And normally you do spoon runs where you pick up all those spoons because you need your spoons back because you need to throw the spoons again at the screen. And then usually it's polite to clean up after yourself after the fact. Unless you're going to that kind of a screening, I don't like people throwing popcorn. That sounds painful. In fact, that reminds me of some of the worst nights at a theater. When we would have these rowdy theaters that... We had one theater that was so bad, we had to shut it down. We shut down a theater. We had to turn the movie off, turn the overhead bright lights on, and then tell, get out. and then had to deal, of course, with the adults who were somehow in there trying to watch this movie. It was a situation where it was the last PG-13 movie of the night before the curfew went into effect, and that's what all the teens bought tickets to, and these teens were not there to see a movie. They were there to cause trouble. Hardwick. Johansson said she kept unsuccessfully trying to get cast in a Jurassic movie for 15 years. So she called Spielberg and said she'd play any role, even if she gets eaten in the first 5 minutes. Whoa. If she gets eaten in the first 5 minutes of this new one, that would be hilarious. Luke Zilla. Maybe Warner Brothers put their faith in the wrong movie, saving them. Because by the looks of it, Minecraft is going to be the biggest movie of the year. It definitely, starting block-wise, it is the best start that we have seen. And it goes up against some other films from even last year. All right, let me go ahead and just look real quickly. Right, so for instance, Moana 2, that one had a bigger opening, $389 million, but still north of $300 million. That's pretty big. That's pretty big for them to make $313 million. It's a heck of a lot more, almost twice what Captain America Brave New World made in its opening weekend. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot to be said for that, for sure. Michael Baguette, has there been an estimate for the opening weekend of The Amateur? Oh, boy. Well, I can go ahead and look since you've asked. I always recommend Box Office Theory. He's, I think, the best in the long-term tracking because he does 5-week tracking, which I love, okay? So as of the last update, and that was as of 4/3, so as of a few days ago, he had the tracking for The Amateur at $12 to $16 million over its 3-day. So that's a pinpoint forecast of 13.5, a total domestic forecast of 40 million. That's what he currently has for that. King of Kings was another one I mentioned from Angel Studios. He has that at a 10 to 15 million range, 11 million pinpoint 3-day, 48 total domestic. Warfare from A24, 21 total domestic. Sinners from Warner Brothers, 85 million total domestic. The Accountant 2, 69 million total domestic. Legend of Ochi or Oki, 17.5 million total domestic. Until Dawn, 20 million total domestic. The Surfer, 9.6 million total domestic. Thunderbolts, only 219 million total domestic. Now, again, Thunderbolts is going to be dependent on whether the film is good or not. There's still a chance that Thunderbolts could do better than people expect. I think Thunderbolts could even do better. I would say there's a more than likely chance that Thunderbolts will make more money than Captain Falcon. Because it just seems like it's the way that they are marketing it seems more fun. And normies want to have fun at the theaters. So I think it's going to appeal to that normie audience a heck of a lot more than whatever the heck they were thinking when it came to Captain America. Justin C., have you seen The Accountant? Yes, I've seen the first one. If so, do you have any thoughts on how the sequel will do on 425? I'm interested. I'm intrigued by it. I did like the first one. It's been a while, so I've honestly forgotten a lot about what the movie is, so I guess not that special. But could be good. Could be good. Could be fun. Victor Fontaine says, hello, fellow Rumblers. Hello. Hello, Victor Fontaine. Trump Tuber says, hail. Hail to you. Thank you for being in the chat. There's the Bo Bridges comment. Old Bridges. Luke Zilla. Rewatched Tron Legacy with my roommates about 3 days ago. Yeah, the de-aged Jeff Bridges was just bad and really off-putting. Yes. Has not aged well. But hey, score is great. Hardwick. The soundtrack for the new Tron movie is being done by Nine Inch Nails. Is it being done by Nine Inch Nails or is it being done by the named group of Atticus and Trent Reznor and Atticus? I don't know. I want to say Atticus Finch, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure that's like a novel character. Is it actually being done by the band Nine Inch Nails, or is it being done by Forever Sci-Fi? Wasn't Tron Legacy the first attempt at de-aging? It's kind of like The Last Starfighter being the first to try CGI. I still love both, though I'd appreciate to update the Tron for de-aging. Yeah. In the age of content being able to be updated in the age of AI, honestly, because I don't care that much about Tron Legacy, I wouldn't mind it being given a fresh coat of paint for them to re-render those effects and do a better job at it. That'd be great. If it wasn't the first, though, it was definitely one of the earliest to try the de-aging. And from what I remember, I don't know if that was a full-fledged de-aging or if that was just like a full CG character. Maybe it was a mixture of both technologies. King and Remsky, I always get Kurt Russell mixed up with Jeff Bridges, even Jeff Daniels, so don't feel bad. I definitely don't do it with Jeff Daniels. And the reason why is because Jeff Daniels is easy for me because of Dumb and Dumber. I'm always able to separate him out. But Kurt Russell and Jeff Bridges, I'm always like, oh my gosh, I know they're different, but I just can't. Orange Hat, I've noticed the trend on Disney Plus, D Plus shows from studying a lot of reviews from people. It seems that Disney gives the first 2 episodes no wokeness, then push it into the later episodes' thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I think the joke has been made that it's by the 3rd episode that you get the message of some kind. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to quantify because in the latest Daredevil show, for instance, I wouldn't say it took to 3 episodes to find out what the show was about. I mean, the first 15 minutes to me was more than enough because it told you everything you needed to know. Oh, this is just a bait and switch. And now everything since then has just been a bait and switch. Jonah Winkster saying, Minecraft is so overrated. The game is awesome. The movie, absolutely. The movie's not good. Orange Chat, Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, Daredevil, Born Again, others followed this 2-episode trend, then pushed agenda-driven content. For Skeleton Crew, it wasn't really agenda-driven content that was really pushed. It just was not good. It just wasn't fun. It wasn't entertaining. The issue, honestly, was that Star Wars got in the way. It was a movie that did not need Star Wars. And that's why it just did not come across very good. KU64 saying, Tron Ares was on the top of my anticipated list of 2025. Love Tron Legacy. The vibe of that movie is amazing. The trailer for Ares had a cool look, but still wary of the real-world approach. Indeed. I'll have to see the trailer. Hardwick, X-Men Last Stand, de-aged Professor X and Magneto in the prologue. That was back in 2006, 4 years before Tron Legacy. Well, there you go. And that looked a heck of a lot better. Guy, for the Minecraft, they took some things from other 2 spin-off games. And that is why it lost me, because it's called the Minecraft movie. Not, oh, the Minecraft and this and this. Hardwick, Daredevil was more woke in the first 2 episodes than the later ones so far. Those first 2 pushed the Trump all allegory with Fisk, then later ones slacked off a bit. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think people kind of overreacted to that part of it, to be honest. The issue to me was more so like how they very much try to diminish Fisk's character by having him go into couples therapy. It's just so unbefitting of that character. I mean, as someone who's very much pro therapy, by the way, it's just in a comic book movie with that character. No, he would not do that. Jimmy A. Speaking of mashups, they have one of Billie Jean Vanilla Ice that goes way too hard. Dang. Vita Fontaine, Jack Black was in the Super Mario Brothers movie too. If you want your video game movie to make $1 billion, you just need Jack Black in it. Yep. And to have him sing, apparently. Because people like that? I don't get it. Her Sci-Fi was a member saying, the Tron Ares trailer looked interesting, but it doesn't have Tron. Ooh, that could hurt it. That could definitely hurt it for sure. I haven't seen it. Jimmy A. says, let's see. For me, the animation in King of Kings threw me off. I just can't get past it. Yeah, man. And the other issue is that I don't think it works very well. In fact, we were talking about the film on Carrie Smith's channel for the Christian show that we do every couple weeks. And in our review of it, I said something to the effect of, my issue with the film is that the trailer is so much better. You get everything you really need. You get more emotion from the way the trailer is cut than the way the film is cut. And that's a really bad thing. Mission Media, welcome. Hardwick, Dwayne Johnson looks unrecognizable in the photos of him in the upcoming Mark Kerr biopic, The Smashing Machine. Interesting. Jenkins85, dude, it's been a while. Where you been? Welcome. My Brigade, Sinners is the new Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan film. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I don't know that. Why should I know that? I have seen the trailer for it, and that's how memorable it was. I couldn't even remember the name of the movie. That's not my problem. That's the movie's problem. Fear of FEMA. Unfortunately, Minecraft has already made too much to save us from a slew of sequels. Agreed. Jimmy A. Furious, unless it has like a catastrophic drop, that would have to be massive. Jimmy A. Furious 7 was a great movie in my opinion. Bro, no. Look, here's the thing. Jimmy A., I'm telling you, I think the issue, you got so caught up with the feels at the end, all right? It's been a long ride without you, my friend. Cars go in different directions. That's a beautiful moment. It's gorgeous. The rest of the movie, though, no. Let's see. Guillermo Gage. What movies do you think could actually be entertaining movie theater experience for you personally? I have hopes for Michael Jackson biopic. Moderate fan of his music. Big defender of him as a person. Honestly, hard to say. The next film I can think of that I'm really looking forward to would be Ballerina, because I am personally a big fan of the John Wick universe. Geek Truth 64. Sad to hear King of Kings is disappointing. Pre-order tickets hit 7.8 million. I think it will do well at the box office, but I wanted a movie to be good too. Yeah, everything they've done since Sound of Freedom has just never been able to get anywhere close. Bonhoeffer was a film I was so excited for, and then it just ended up being so bad. And then they took liberties with the story. It's just Jimmy A. Cry Macho was 2021. The Mule was 2018. There you go. I never even watched Cry Macho because I just didn't look interesting. Gatekeeper, what's going on, brother? Thank you for being a member for 9 months in a row. Geek34 saying, I'm with you on thinking Tokyo Drift is underrated. My fast on the spot ranking for Fast and Furious is 1537462. Bro, everyone hates 2. Everyone hates 2. Yeah, for me, I'd have to go 1 for my number 1. Like realistically, it's the OG, right? But I'd probably go 1, 3, then 5. Then I'd probably go 4. No, I'd go 6, then 4, then 2, then 7. I hated 7. And as bad as 2 is, it's so bad it's funny. Even 2 has entertainment value for me. 7 just doesn't. Let's see. Jimmy A., who is a member, tagged also. Talking Heads did do that song. If you really like that, you would like the rest of them. They are nonsensical, but purposefully so. Fun. Guy, you think the Mission Impossible 8 will break even? It has to compete with Lilo and Stitch. The movie has to make at least $1 billion. I mention this all the time. Competition means very little at the box office. If a film is good, it'll make a lot of money. Prime example. Oppenheimer. Didn't like it personally, all right? But it was well made, and clearly there was an audience for it. So while Barbie is making over $1 billion, guess what? That movie got close to making $1 billion. So yeah, the whole competition nonsense, dude, I just, it's never a good argument to me. So, we can talk about it in, a general thing saying, okay, which one is going to pull, if they have 2 movies that are both going for the target demographic, which one are they going to choose? For me, though, it's like, okay, it's not about which one are they going to choose, it's which one are they going to choose first. Just because they go see one movie doesn't mean that they're not going to go see the other film at some point. If they're both good, and if they're both drawing that demographic out, then they can both do well. So, do I think it'll break even? I hope it does. Since they are promoting it as the end, and since they took the whole part 1, part 2 crap out, I think this one will do better. The thing also is, they need to have like a Thursday night premiere. They can't do that crap like they did last time, where it was like, it was in theaters on Sunday for like fan events, and then it was kind of in theaters on Monday and Tuesday, and it was a mess. Luke Zilla, I read somewhere a while ago Michael Bay was going to be involved with a Skibbity Toilet movie. Guess that's the next one he'll turn into a $1 billion franchise. Is he really involved? That's crazy. Kevin Jackman, happy Monday. Happy to you. Nothing wrong with classical. It's just not my jam. Short. Write that down. Fear of FEMA says. Joe Wingster, that was an actual portrayal of modern country. Okay, I'm glad that I captured modern country well. back at 8:42. It's 8:59. We're going to be wrapping things up soon. So I'm going to try and get through all of the comments that have been left so far. But if you are in real time right now, okay, Keely Chow, Hardwick, Mr. Shaggins, right? Please, if y'all could just calm down on the questions. I want to be able to catch up. Jimmy A., you may not like country music, but you just made one of the greatest country songs ever. Seriously, release that as a single. Okay, I give permission to whoever's really good with AI technology. Clip that and then do some magic and then turn it into a song. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. Hardwick, what are your thoughts on the Superman sneak peek with Crypto and the Fortress of Solitude? I have not seen the latest footage, but honestly, it still does not give me any hope. I'm just so unenthused about that movie in every capacity. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm just saying it is not moving the needle for me at all. General Wingster, as I walked through the valley where I harvest my grain, I took a look at my wife and realized she's very plain, but that's just perfect for an Amish medley. You know what? I'm going to mess up the words here. You know, I shun fancy things like electricity. At 4:30 in the morning, I'm milking cows. Jebediah feeds the chickens and Jacob plows. Fool, and I've been milking and plowing so long that even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone. I'm a man of the land and I'm too disciplined. Got a Bible in my hand and a beard on my chin. But if I finish all of my chores and you finish thine, then tonight we're gonna party like it's 1699. We've been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise. So good. Can't even do it justice. Jimmy A., comps have been called for some of these people at the Minecraft screenings. Yep. Sounds right. So that's another question. Will the chaos that these audiences are causing at these screenings push people away next weekend? We don't know. Carl Jacobs, you recognize Monster Mash. I didn't expect this. It's a classic. It was the Monster Mash. It was the mash. I don't get all of the references, but I do get some. Hardwick, how much classic country have you listened to? There are a lot of great musicians in that era, especially Hank Williams. Not a whole lot, but from the ones that I've heard. Cthulhu, sad thing is good country music is not the commercial junk. Wailing Jennies, Alison Krauss, Poor Man's Poison, Deb Talon, Civil Wars, many great artists not singing about drinking in a pickup truck. Are you sure? I've heard always great things about Hank Williams. Probably heard his songs. Again, my music is very weird. Hardwick trailer for John Aries specifically says 9 Inch Nails. Okay. Michael Baguette, today is the 30th anniversary of a Goofy movie. Oh, man. There's a documentary on Disney Plus dropped today called Not Just a Goof, worth checking out. Man, Disney Plus putting out something worth watching. That's a rarity. I'll tell you right now, that song, Eye to Eye, from the original is great. But there is a phenomenal remake from a band called Magnolia Park. They did this whole series of songs where it was the classic, like mostly 90s era musical songs revamped by modern artists. And Eye to Eye by Magnolia Park, it is a jam, I tell you. Yeah. So good. Hardwick, have you heard any of John Horton's music? The Battle of New Orleans, Sink the Bismarck, North Alaska? Not ringing a bell. Jose Taco tagged it. Did you talk about the stuff announced at CinemaCon? Got here late. Didn't really do a whole lot of coverage of CinemaCon. Other people are doing that. I focus primarily on the box office, as I always do. Keely Chow, good morning from Hong Kong. You from Hong Kong? What? Hey, and how are you? Thor, Freya, Baby Save, all doing well. It's odd that you come here at the end of the stream. It's going to be the most met of met, talking about Sinners. Yes, agreed, Mr. Dill, as I will also call you. Hardwick, do you like any folk music, such as The Seekers? Not offhand. I mean, I think folk is definitely part of the genre that is Jethro Tull, so I suppose in part. Jimmy A. says, The Rock breaking his cast by flexing Furious 7 is pure cinema. Ugh. No, Jimmy A. No. Keely Chow. The sequels bombed harder in Japan than Oppenheimer did. Geek Juice. Ooh, no. Keely Chow. Too much. Geek Truth. Bo Burnham did a funny country song poking fun at fake country music. Nice. Cthulhu, wish you all a wonderful evening. Thanks for the show. Hey, thank you, Cthulhu, for being here. I do appreciate you. That sounds like an amazing concert, Weird Al. Well done, sir. Such a waster. Thank you. Hardwick, wait, you don't like classical music? I find that surprising for some reason. I didn't say that. I'm not moved by it. It's fine. Like, again, that's something that I would also put on if I were studying. It's just not something that I go out of my way to listen to. I find it rather boring. If I'm looking to fall asleep, I could definitely put it on. Mr. Dill, Odin spent his high school days with Weird Al on repeat. I definitely listened to a lot of Weird Al. The Food album was a great one. River Sci-Fi, I can't take the new Superman seriously. His costume reminds me of how kids up here in the Midwest usually have to wear a jacket beneath their costume to stay warm on Halloween. It sounds good. Geek64 says, I thought I was the only weirdo who could recite Amish Paradise. Props. Yeah, my wife is also a fan, but she is, I think, more of like, I call her a newer fan because she likes the same songs that I do, but her favorite is White and Nerdy. That's like, and she can do everything from that one. At one point, she could do the whole song. Keely Chow says, yes. Mr. Dill says, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash are the best country artists. Yes. I once did a Johnny Cash tribute act when I was in high school. Fun times, but embarrassing to look back on now. Oh, no. I do like Johnny Cash. And Keely Chow just woke up. Hardwick, not all classical music is quiet and calming. Some of it knocks your socks off loud and epic. Again, to you, still puts me to sleep. River Sci-Fi says, I prefer Smells Like Nirvana. Well, there you go. It's a good song. It's a good song. Lexa Dendy. Alf hates classical music. I hate to see it. What a shame. I once thought of him to be a man of taste. Geek Truth. Not going to lie. White and Nerdy is probably my favorite Weird Al song. It's pretty darn good. All right. That is going to be it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I do need to head out because it's past 9. And I'm going to see if my wife wants to watch an episode of Smallville before going to bed. So it might be too late at this point. But I was happy enough to go through those the comments. Thank you all again for being here. This was a ton of fun. Great conversation. Great crowd tonight as well. Shout out to Wayward Noodle and Raichu for your super chats. It was awesome. Really do appreciate that. Always helps keep the lights on. And justify my existence of continuing on. And also it really helps maintain the channel. I love buying movies to do giveaways for. If you are someone who loves giveaways, consider becoming a keeper of the Bifrost level or above. I got a giveaways channel on my Discord server. I just got in some new first off, this is currently going away, being given away on the Discord server. All right, don't think of the movie. All right, this is Flight Risk from earlier this year, Mel Gibson film. All right, this is the 4K Steelbook. But there's an open giveaway for this right now for Keep the Bifrost level people and above over on Discord. But here's the reason why you want it, okay? This is the Lionsgate Steelbook. Geek True 64 is the one that led me on to this, okay? And look what happens. Oh, I love the multifunctional Lionsgate Steelbooks. They are always the best, and this one, I love it. So, very hot commodity over on Discord. Again, Keeper of the Bifrost level and above, only on the Discord server. But I also just got these new ones in. They'll be given away soon on that server as well. I got the Drive 4K Steelbook. Really like the artwork on that one. This is my favorite artwork, though. Shaun of the Dead. This is the 4K Steelbook. Look at that. Look at that artwork. That's gorgeous. Great film. Maybe even better artwork. So, anyway, those were pickups that will be going on for the giveaway server. The forehead that keeps on giving. Yes. Take the hat off. Oh, yeah. You know it. Had to take the hat off. Y'all need a pilot. Drive is an amazing film. Anyway, so that's the last plug for me for channel memberships. Keep it the Bifrost level above. Again, whether it's on Patreon, Subscribestar, on YouTube, I try to give away as much stuff as I can over there. So all y'all super chats help to promote and to support those giveaway endeavors. Geek Truth 64 said this is actually the third Shaun of the Dead Steel. But yeah, dude, they've probably done so many. What Geek Truth, maybe you have an insight on this. Please tell me they're doing this for Hot Fuzz. I did not like World's End. I did not like the third film in the Cornetto trilogy. But man, oh man, this is a good film. I love this cover, but I want this for Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is my favorite by far. I quote that film all the time. It's so freaking good. I really hope that they do that for that one. Anyway, I do have to head out, though. I'll look for that response in the chat. You guys are all amazing, beautiful people. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Passion Week, everybody. Palm Sunday this week. Palm Sunday this Sunday, and then going into Holy Week. So anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, everybody. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge special shout out to all of my Chosen of Valhalla members, starting off first with my people on Patreon, Father Luca Illick and Miss Martin Muses. Check out her YouTube channel by the same name, Miss Martin Muses. Also to my Subscribe Star people, Matt317. Check out his Twitch channel by the same name, Matt317. And lastly to my YouTube member, Mr. Roy. Shout out to you, good sir. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, check out the top link in the video description below where you get access to that. Also, you get access to a plethora of other things. You get your name listed at the end of every live stream and video, like you saw in those names that came up before this video started. And also access to a giveaways channel that I host over on the Discord server where I give away 4Ks, Steelbooks, Blu-rays, all kinds of stuff. So check that out if you're interested in that. Also, I have an exclusive podcast that I hold at least once a month, and it's always a good time, and you get extra bonus content with that also. So if any of that sounds interesting, again, check out that top link in the video description below. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.